Welcome to the MHP Rhino Deep Dive with Barnaby and Ophelia MHP Nation. Here we go. Today we're diving into some pretty profound wisdom, actually. Perfect for anyone navigating that journey of personal growth. Our source for this deep dive is called By Age 35, You Should Be Wise Enough to Know These 6 Things. And it's really about understanding a few powerful truths deeply, rather than, getting caught up trying to know everything. Think of it as a bit of a shortcut to being well-informed about what truly matters as we mature, especially around that pivotal age 35 mark.
That's exactly right. And it's not like you hit 35 and poof, you suddenly have all the answers. That's not the idea at all. It's more about recognizing these key life lessons that often, tend to surface by then, and how really internalizing them can serve you better than almost anything else. The source really hammers home this idea that personal growth isn't just stacking up facts. It's about deeply understanding, and this is crucial, acting on a few powerful principles. So we're going to unpack these 6, not just as abstract concepts, but as real practical wisdom for living. What jumps out at you first from that framing, that idea about depth over breadth?
What immediately grabs me, and I think it's such a relief, really, for a lot of us, is that idea. Personal growth isn't about knowing everything. It's about understanding a few powerful truths deeply. That's just such a powerful way to reframe things, isn't it? Especially if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the information out there or, constantly feeling like you're falling behind. It sort of gives you permission to focus your energy, become a specialist in what matters. So yeah, let's unpack these truths one by one for you. And let's see them not just as separate bits of advice, but maybe as connected pillars that build a foundation for a more intentional life. Okay, first one, let's dive in. It might seem a bit counterintuitive today. Silence speaks volumes. The source says, pretty clearly, not everything that crosses your mind needs to come out of your mouth. Sometimes saying nothing, that deliberate quiet, is actually the most powerful move. It's a real art, isn't it? Often harder to stay quiet than to jump in.
And what's really fascinating is how the source links silence directly to confidence and wisdom. It suggests it's way more than just holding back your tongue. Silence, it explains, it's a strategic tool. Think about it, like in a heated meeting or a tense discussion, the person who pauses really listens before they speak. They often gain a kind of leverage, It's not just about thinking time. It creates this space, mental and emotional space, to gather your thoughts, let the static settle, and make sure your response is impactful, not just reactive. In a world that's always pushing us to share, fill every gap, mastering that quiet shows real self-assurance. It signals you're confident enough not to need to chime in on everything. And, wise enough to know your words have weight. You choose when to use them.
That's a great point, because it is a tightrope walk. It's not silence out of fear, right, or uncertainty. It's silence from a conscious choice to observe, process, and only speak when it adds real value. It's active, not passive. And that ability to pause, observe, really take things in, that becomes even more critical for our next truth, especially when ego gets involved. Yep, that leads us straight into number 2, know when to respect, not compete. This one really hits home for me. It challenges such a common instinct, I think. The source advises, when you meet someone smarter, don't compete. That's a huge mindset shift, isn't it? Our first reaction's often, okay, I got to prove myself here.
Right. And if you dig into the why behind that, the source points out something fundamental. Competition, it says, often comes from insecurity. It's like a defense mechanism, protecting a fragile ego, maybe. But collaboration and respect, they're built on true strength. That inner confidence that isn't threatened by someone else shining. The material really encourages you to embrace what you can learn from others instead of getting caught up in that, graining cycle of comparison, which just wears you out. This is so critical for your growth because, as it says, success isn't a zero-sum game. It really pushes back against that scarcity idea that there's only so much success to go around. Instead, growing alongside smart people, learning from them, respecting their skills, it doesn't diminish you. It actually boosts your own potential, lifts everyone up. It's a powerful shift, turning potential rivals into mentors, maybe even partners.
That synergy idea, instead of rivalry,
Yeah.
really compelling. It makes you reevaluate those default competitive settings we sometimes have. So it's not about dimming their light so yours seems brighter. It's more like using their light to help you see your own path better. But what's the first practical step? How do you shift from scarcity to abundance in those moments?
I think it starts with genuine curiosity, really. Instead of that immediate thought, how do I stack up? Try shifting to, okay, what can I learn here? Ask open questions, actively listen, genuinely appreciate what they bring to the table. That simple shift in approach, it can start to break down those competitive walls and open up possibilities for learning, collaboration, mutual growth. It just changes the whole dynamic.
Excellent advice. Okay, so moving from how we interact more broadly, Our third truth takes us right into our closest relationships. Prioritize the family you're building. A source puts it very powerfully. By now, you likely understand that the family you create is your legacy. That really shifts the focus, doesn't it? From where we started to what we're actively creating now.
Definitely. It emphasizes the huge importance of your partner, kids, and also what the source calls your chosen family, which is such a relevant idea today. When it talks about chosen family, it's referring to those deep bonds you forge, maybe not with blood relatives, but with friends, mentors, people who offer that same unconditional support, that sense of belonging. They're the people you actively choose to share life with, an essential support system. So these relationships, partner, kids, chosen family, are the ones you nurture and support. And the source makes this really clear distinction. The family you came from helps shape you, sure, but the family you're creating will be your most important priority moving forward. That really prompts a question for you, doesn't it? Where are you really investing your energy and care? What truly deserves your primary focus now? Because these relationships, they're the fabric of the life you're actively building right now, and they need that focused attention, that commitment. They're not just passive things. They are your legacy in the making.
It's a fundamental shift, yeah, from being sort of shaped by the past to actively shaping your future through these core connections that you choose and cultivate, like being the architect of your own personal world, building that support system that reflects who you're becoming. And that leads pretty naturally into thinking about our wider circle, too. Right. Let's tackle number 4. Feels like a good follow-on. Quality over quantity in friendships. The source notes that, back in your 20s, maybe having a huge social circle felt important, like a sign of popularity or something. I remember that feeling. It was all about the numbers then.
And this is where it gets really interesting for you as life evolves. The source points out, as life gets busier, you realize that one true friend who genuinely celebrates your successes and encourages your dreams is worth far more than a crowd of acquaintances who might bring negativity and jealousy. This isn't just about saying no to parties. It's a deeper reevaluation of what friendship really means. And thinking about the energetic cost of maybe superficial connections. Psychologically speaking, having just a few really supportive relationships, it boosts your well-being, lowers stress. It even impacts physical health more than having a wide network of casual ties that kind of drain you without giving much back. So it's a strong call to seek out those people who are genuinely rooting for you. The ones who push you to be better, who bring positivity. It reinforces that idea that real strength in your social life comes from deep, supportive connections, reciprocal ones, not just a high follower count or a long list of casual contacts. It's about depth, not breadth. And recognizing some relationships just aren't worth the energy.
Yeah. So if it's about having that one person, or maybe a small inner circle, who genuinely believes in you, challenges you in a good way, who you can be totally real with, rather than like a stadium full of lukewarm cheerleaders, or worse, secret critics, right? That one true friend, that's your real support system. It's like knowing who will actually show up to help you move house, not just like your post about moving. Okay, next step, number 5. Forgiveness is freedom. This one feels, well, deeply personal and probably relevant to everyone. The source says, as you mature, the best gift you can give yourself is to let go of blame, especially toward your parents. That can be a really tough one, I imagine. Those early relationships often carry a lot of weight.
For sure. And it raises a crucial point for you because the source acknowledges, look, nobody had perfect parents, and you may have your fair share of grievances. It recognizes that reality. It's not glossing over difficulties, but it stresses this vital point. Holding on to them only weighs you down. And the psychological truth there is pretty deep. Chronic resentment. It keeps your nervous system kind of fired up. It affects sleep, immune function, everything. It takes up mental space that could be used for, better things, growth, creativity. What's really interesting is the definition of forgiveness here. Doesn't mean you forget, but it allows you to move forward. It's so important to get that. The source isn't saying you excuse bad behavior or even that you have to reconcile. No, it defines forgiveness as an act of emotional liberation for yourself. It's about releasing the burden you are carrying, not letting anyone off the hook. And this act of letting go, as it says, it opens up space for more happiness and growth. It's genuinely freeing, like a physiological reset, freeing up mental and physical energy for your own journey.
That really changes the perspective, doesn't it? It's a gift you give yourself, not necessarily the other person, just to unburden your own spirit, clear the path for your own happiness. It's a powerful kind of self-care, really, self-liberation, reclaiming your own energy. Okay, and for our final truth, number 6, skip the endless self-help books and take action. Hey, someone might hit close to home for quite a few of us, myself included, we live in this world drowning in information, and the source says we've all been there, getting lost in self-help books, podcasts, and endless advice. It's so easy to fall into that trap, right? Like having a shelf full of get-rich-quick books, but still hoping to win the lottery.
Totally. And what's fascinating here is the core message. It's pretty blunt. There's only one thing that truly fuels growth: action. Simple as that. The source clarifies, reading about how to change your life is just the beginning. That's step one, maybe. The real work comes in implementing what you've learned and showing up with discipline. This points right at that classic knowing-doing gap that trips so many of us up. We can absorb tons of wisdom, but if it doesn't translate into actual steps, tangible actions, it just sits there. It's inert. So it's a really strong call to move past just consuming information and get into active application. It's not about reading hundreds of books. It's about choosing a few principles that resonate with you and then live them out. So, for instance, if that silence speaks volumes idea resonated, all right, commit to 5 minutes of quiet reflection each morning. Start there. If quality over quantity hit home, make a real effort this week to schedule a proper deep chat with one true friend. It's a powerful push to turn knowledge into applied wisdom, to weave it into your actual daily life, and build that discipline muscle that makes real change stick. It's about the doing, not just the knowing.
Exactly. It's the showing up, the consistent effort, laying those bricks, like you said, day after day. That's where the real transformation happens. And it loops right back to our first point, doesn't it? About deeply understanding a few truths, not knowing everything. It's about being a practitioner of wisdom, not just a collector of information. So, wrapping this up, what does all this really mean for you? Our deep dive into these 6 essential truths for thriving by age 35. It seems to show that real personal growth isn't about piling up information. It's not about chasing every new self-help trend either. It's about deeply understanding a few core powerful truths, internalizing them, and then crucially having the courage and the discipline to actually live them out, making those conscious choices day by day that build the life you really want.
Exactly. As the source wraps it up so well, personal growth doesn't come from knowing 100 things. It's about deeply understanding a few powerful truths. These principles we've talked about, the power of silence, the freedom and forgiveness, prioritizing the right relationships, taking action, they aren't just nice ideas to think about. They're really calls to action for building a richer, more intentional, and ultimately, more fulfilling life. It's about building your legacy brick by brick with purpose, with wisdom.
So we really encourage you to reflect on these 6 principles. Which one maybe resonated most strongly with you today? And maybe think about what's one small, actionable step you can take this week to start living out just one of these truths. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into what it truly means to be wise by 35, and really what it means to build, grow, and win in your life. Until next time, keep digging deeper and keep moving forward.